Carmelo Anthony was convicted to 35 years. 35 years. Now he's doing an appeal. My question is, was 35 years too much? I'm going to start with Andrew, and then we fill in. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, not only wasn't too much. I think the death penalty is appropriate for a case like this. So, in my opinion, he stabbed an innocent person in the heart with a knife at a school event, and that generally leads to, or at least it used to, in a more moral nation, to the chair. And that's what I think should have happened personally. But at least life in prison at a minimum. Right now, he can serve 15 years and he's out. That's ridiculous. That's insane. The victim's family, of course, they're deprived from their son for a lifetime.
King Riches, do you agree with Andrew, or do you think it was that will be too much?
Andrew's talking about he believes the death penalty would have been justified. I don't believe that. I think that it's a manslaughter charge. Like, obviously, it was a heinous crime, but I don't think it was in Karmelo's intention to delete the guy. I think that there was a level of conflict between him and these other boys. Now, he made a very, very crucial mistake to use a tool. And obviously, you know, the other boy is deceased. But I think saying that you think the death penalty would have been a better result is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, he just unintentionally shot him in the heart. It was an accident. He didn't mean to take his
that.
Bro,
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't
what's
do
manslaughter?
That. I didn't say
manslaughter
that.
Is
I didn't say that.
Manslaughter usually
I didn't say that.
around
I'm saying that
killings.
I don't think I'm saying I don't think his intention was to delete the guy.
Oh, so so what is your intention when you shoot somebody in the heart? Is it to just not kill them, or is it to kill them?
What do you mean what do you
if
mean?
You shoot a person in the heart, would
you
try to convince me that you didn't mean to kill him when you were stabbing him in the heart?
I honestly think that the boy was stupid. I think that it's ridiculous. I don't think that he should have got off. I think that, yeah, of course, he had to go to prison for what he did. But I don't think that he premeditated that.
How is it not premeditated if you pull out a knife and somebody in the heart, dude? Yes, that's premeditated.
Well, in situations like that where he was obviously the smaller guy, and we know this happens in every day. Listen, let me finish what I'm saying before you start making sound effects.
Go ahead.
Like, seriously, like, don't do that, innit?
Do what?
So, like, basically. Go
ahead.
Bro. Let's go on Mike and then interrupt it. King Riches, and then when he lands, Andrew Wilson.
Don't do that, because
King, I'm here to moderate. Don't worry about it. Finish your statement, and then you can go afterwards, and then we move to the bottom.
As I was saying, like, at the end of the day, like, we wasn't there, you wasn't there. You don't know what was said. You don't know the temperature that or you don't know what was going on. All you know is that, and all you're going off of is that he's the boy. And I understand that. But you're saying that he should have got the death penalty. I just don't agree with it. I don't think he was on some serial killer vibes, like, oh, I'm coming out my house today to take someone's life. I don't think he was that was the situation.
Well, let's
do I think that do I think as a boxer I'm a fighter? Yeah, I'm somebody that uses my hands. I don't believe in carrying weapons. I don't. So in terms of 35 years, do I think that was he took someone's life. So at the end of the day, if you take someone's life, your life should be ruined, basically. But you're saying the death penalty, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but you see how you never made an actual argument for why. You just vibing it, right? Just my vibe.
I'm not
hang on. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you.
No,
Calm down.
Don't say
1 second. Hey, 1 second. Hey, 1 second, friends. Hey, King. Let him land, and I'll give him a chance to correct him.
My turn.
King, you will have the
calm down, bro. Don't tell me calm
down. Friends, we talk. Hey, we talked before the show. If your opponent is committing a mistake, don't interrupt him. Let him land his plane, and King, afterwards, you are left the chance to say he is wrong and this is why. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah. So anyway, all you gave me was vibes. You didn't give me a single argument for why he doesn't deserve the death penalty. You don't think so. Well, that's nice. You also said, well, we don't really know because you weren't there. That's great. We had a trial. That's what that was there for, so that we could discover the facts of the case. And as it turns out in the facts of the case, all that happened was these other kids moved his stuff, and that made him upset, right? They got in each other's faces. There was a moderate shove. He pulled out a knife, him in the heart. Now you say, well, that's not premeditated. The second you go for a weapon, pull it out and stab somebody, you are making the conscious, premeditated decision to kill them. By the way, in the state that they were in, when it comes to, they don't even make those distinctions. They don't even do that. They're just like, look, if it's the case in Texas that you them under whatever the circumstances are, premeditated or not, it's the same penalty. So you don't even know what the facts are of the case. You don't know what you're talking about, dude.
King uninterrupted, please.
At the end of the day, as I said, I don't think the boy's intention was to delete the guy. I think that there was an altercation, and I felt that, and I think that he probably was feeling like, I'm the smaller guy. There's more of them. He was in their like environment, their tent or whatever. He probably was scared and thinking, oh, I'm gonna get beat up. I've got to do what I've got to do. But I don't think that his mindset was, I want to delete the guy. That's what I honestly believe. And somebody like me who's been in a lot of situations, bro, like sometimes you'll make stupid decisions that you will regret later. I'm sure the boy regrets it, but I don't think that he premeditated that I want to take this boy's life. I think that he was in altercation, and you're saying the trial, we have all the facts. You don't have all the facts, because you don't know who's lying. You don't know what pieces of information is left out. We don't know. All we're going off of is what these people said. They came to court and said, and that's it. You still wasn't there. You still don't know 1,000% what happened.
Yeah, but all you're doing,
certain parts that you know.
All you're doing is making a gaps argument. You don't know for sure 1,000% anything by the same exact logic.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Hang on, relax. You don't know anything.
Don't telling me to don't do that passive aggressive. Relax.
I'm not. That's not. It's aggressive. It's aggressive. There's nothing passive about it. I'm literally telling you, just relax.
You've never seen me upset in your life. So don't tell me, relax,
but
relax. I'm calm.
Can I get 3 words out without you interrupting?
This is me
and losing your mind.
This is me being normal, bro.
Good, then just normally be quiet so I can make my point. Can you normally be quiet so I can make my point?
Don't tell me to relax, because I'm relaxed. I'm calm.
Chill out, bro. Whatever you want me to say.
Stop saying that. Just get on with what you're saying.
Then you have to close your mouth, dude. You have to not talk.
Hey, one second, friend. 1 second. Hey, friends. If somebody tells you to relax, you know what it means. It's for you to get agitated. Don't fall for it, please. Okay, calm down, relax. Calm down, relax. Don't fall for it. If somebody tells you to calm down, it's for you to control yourself.
Right, he can just carry on with what he's saying. Don't need to keep telling me.
How am I supposed to do that when you can't close your yap? You can't close your mouth to let me say a sentence.
Brother,
it's totally fine. Let me bring
I don't interrupt you, and you just can't close your mouth for 5 seconds for rebuttal.
Let me bring Mr.
Serious
Fantastic.
impulse control issues.
You wouldn't talk like this.
Yes, indeed.
Serious impulse control issues.
You wouldn't talk like this in person, but carry on.
Oh, so you're gonna beat me up now?
I'm just saying it's unrealistic.
I'm not. And if you say I am, I'll kick your ass.
It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic.
I'm not violent.
You would just be normal. Everyone would be normal. Everyone would be normal.
Yeah, then
that's what I'm saying to you.
Be normal.
So why do you need to keep saying calm down? I'm saying I'm calm, and you keep saying it over and over and over again to be antagonizing.
Because the other person won't shut up. And you tell them to calm down.
And now you're saying shut up and all of this. Like, bro, when you tell someone to shut up, what do you expect? Do you expect them to be like, oh, okay,
I didn't tell you to shut up. I asked you to relax.
And then you said close your mouth and all this kind of antagonizing.
Because you won't
carry
let
on
somebody
with
talk.
what you're saying, bro. I'm gonna stop talking.
Is anybody but you allowed to talk this entire panel?
I'm gonna stop talking. Carry on with what you want to say.
Yeah, great. So all you have to do is just let me speak. So anyway, when it comes to the things that you just said, there's a whole bunch of rebuttals to them. The first thing is like, sure, you can't know anything 1,000%, I guess. Great. The purpose for a trial is so that we could discover facts about the trial. Once we discover the facts about the trial, that we go based on the evidence. And we do have compelling evidence that there was no justification whatsoever for Karmelo Anthony to pull a folding knife out of his pocket and the other kid in the heart. We have good compelling evidence for that. So by the way, the jury agrees with me, and the judge agreed, handed him down 35 plus years. So it's like, what do you mean?
Of course they
do. So it wasn't a judge, it was a jury in Texas, as you said, right? The judge didn't really give the sentence, and the jury decided it. Second thing, yeah, you're right about the premeditation and things not being necessary or needed. But being that the judge and the prosecution considered manslaughter, it leans to the fact of the matter that they were considering that it could have possibly been manslaughter also. Even though, of course, there was the worst possible outcome, man. I didn't see him. I definitely saw him getting time, but I saw him getting maxed out at the manslaughter 20-year rate. At the same time, though, 35 years ain't 99, right? Oh, and as far as the death penalty, it was never on the table because he was a minor. Even though they're trying him as an adult, he can't receive the death penalty. If you're going to properly talk about the state of Texas and the parameters that were in the case. And again, there are very, very unfortunate things, right? Again, when we start talking premeditation, be it necessary or not, the clear understanding of it is, hey, I'm going to kill somebody today. I don't think that Karmelo Anthony came out of his house saying, I'm going to kill a white person, I'm going to kill Austin Metcalf or anything today. He made the worst possible decision and had the worst possible outcome. Actually, I just learned this a week ago. I think they say it's less than 10% of people that get stabbed from stabbings. Okay. Now, of course, stabbings are far more lethal ways of, ending an altercation or dealing in an altercation than fighting. And I would have suggested, or I would have definitely preferred him fight it out with his hands than use a weapon. And this is why you don't bring weapons, a knife to a fist fight, because stuff like this can happen. So it's 35 years too much. Being that he got found guilty for murder, no, it's not too much at all, because he could have got 99 years. They could have maxed him out. So, despite feeling like it was more towards the manslaughter, because I don't think that, that he's not this fucking ninja assassin that knows exactly where the heart is and aimed directly for the heart and stab boy. I think it's very, very, again, he shouldn't have used a knife in the first place, but it was the worst possible outcome that it was. And being that he could have got 99 years and he didn't even get half of that, 35 years and then eligibility of parole at 17 and a half, that's more than reasonable. I'm done.
I don't know. Is it my turn for rebuttal? Because I saw somebody else up on the screen. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to follow the rules. Okay, gotcha. Well, there's an olive branch here. There's some things that I agree with you on. So the first point, when you're asking about the death penalty, you're right. It wasn't on the table. They were asking what should have happened. This, to me, is a hypothetical about idealism. You're asking, ideally, what would you want to have seen in a case like this? I don't think the death penalty would be off the table from my moral view. You're right in the facts that wasn't on the table as far as sentencing goes. However, life imprisonment, I think, was actually on the table as far as sentencing goes. I think it was. Am I incorrect there?
Yeah, you're incorrect. Like, it was maxed out at 99 years, but they can't give him life because, well, no, even still, he has the ability. Well, technically, you're right.
It's life.
But yeah. So 99 years would be life for all intents and purposes. But by the letter of the law, he can't be given life.
Because, like, what would he be? 116, right?
Yeah, he would have. But you're right. You're correct. But I'm just saying, going by the actual statutes and things, he has to be the eligibility of parole, being that even though they tried him as an adult, he was a minor when the offense occurred. My bad. So technically, you're right.
So again, olive branch there. No disagreement there, but I do think that they could have given him a much more rigid sentence. I would have been fine with it. I would have been fine with the 99 years if they could have done it. And when it comes to this idea, though, one of the things that you said here that I do take issue with is when you're talking about the itself, you don't think that he purposely was setting out to kill him. You said 10% of victims only die, which, by the way, is still really high. Just so you know, 10% is still enormously high when it comes to a thing that kills you. If 10% of the activities that you do would kill you, you would avoid those 10%, right? So when we're talking about this, it's actually...
I worked on no. I worked in the most dangerous place on the planet, bro, for like substantial military carrier flight deck.
I don't think that has a 10% mortality rate. I'd be willing to bet right now.
Well, I'm just telling you that it's the most, like, top 5, no less than top 5.
Yeah, but I'd be willing to bet you that it's not even close to a 10% mortality, not even in the same universe.
So what would be, give me an occupation that would be a 10% mortality
I don't
rate.
think that there are many occupations that would, which is why I'm saying that if it has a 10% mortality rate, you'd avoid it like the plague, because the chance of it killing you are so outrageously high. So you try to minimize by saying it's 10%, but that's actually really high. If I were to give you 10 jelly beans and say one of these will kill you, would you pick and eat one? No, right? That's still astronomical odds when you think about it. So that's the first thing that I'll take issue with. The second is when you say, well, he didn't intend to kill him, then why did he aim for the chest? Why not go for the leg? Why not go for the arm? Why not go for those things? Why would you shoot in the chest? The chest is the area that you would normally go to if you wanted to kill somebody. That's not the area that you would go to if you didn't. Slashing an arm, going for the leg, going for the arms, things like this, going for the neck or chest, that looks like something that has the intent for a kill blow, from my opinion and from my view.
No, I agree with that. But again, that's what I'm saying. And being till the evidence has been presented, I can't say his intention or intent as far as the direction or like the location. But it seems to me like that was just the thing that was most likely or right there as the way it's described or whatnot. Like I said, at the end of the day, I don't believe he should have used the knife in the first place. But it's the fact of the matter that people do things all the time in a violent nature, in a violent matter, without the intention of killing people, and they end up dead. And I'm thinking that's what happened in this situation.
I don't disagree with you in a sense that, yes, people can engage in conflict with each other where they don't intend to kill the other person. This happens accidentally with fists, with feet, in aggressive, fights at a club or bar. Accidents like that do occur. I think that there's a distinction to be made here when you pull out a folding knife, right? You still have it half folded before you step at the chest region. That to me looks like intent. If it was me and let's say we were in a bar and we ended up in some sort of conflict and I pulled out a knife, slashed at your arm, slashed at your leg, something like this, later told the police, hey, I was just trying to get away from the situation, or it was so aggressive, I was trying to get out of it without killing the guy. That sounds a lot more believable than, but I pulled it out and stabbed him right in the chest in the heart region. That seems to me like I'm trying to kill you, right?
No, I agree. And my only thing would be for that is that, unfortunately, this is the first time he's someone, and as far as we know, he has any history of violence and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to say ignorance and so on and so forth. Again, I just don't. I just, like you said, I don't think it was the thing to where, to a kid, a knife is, all these different things. It was just the worst possible occasion, bro. And like I said, from the way that it was described by the coroner, it was the worst possible way. Even the entry wound of the
it couldn't have gone worse.
So that's all I'm saying, man. Again, at the end of the day, I don't agree with him using a knife in a fist fight.
But let me just tie it off with this, because I think we do agree, but maybe we can tie it off with a lot more agreement. If I said, in my defense, I slashed at his leg and it hit his femoral artery, and I clearly wasn't intending to do that because I was slashing at the leg and I thought that that's a non-lethal area. Doesn't that sound way more believable than I wasn't trying to kill him, but I stabbed him in the chest area?
Of course, I agree. And the biggest, and that's the biggest thing, and I think that's what gave him what it was: the injury, the positioning of the injury, and all the things and so on and so forth. When you hear the coroner say he pretty much died instantaneously, there was no way for him to even be resuscitated if they wanted to. Yeah. I think that's what got him the level of what he got.
Yeah, then I think we have more agreement than we don't, honestly.
Yeah.
Test, please, and interrupted. And friends, if I show a cash app in the camera, don't stop talking, okay? I'm just acknowledging the fans. Thank you very much to the 900 people watching, plus the people on Andrew Wilson's side. We appreciate y'all.
I think there's 10,000 over here today.
Yes, you are not famous at all, sir. Thank you very much once again. I hope y'all having fun. Support the content creators that y'all watching, respectively. Everyone in the chat.
And by the way, to my chat, remember, people who host us and are kind to us, we're kind back. Make sure you go over to this channel, send in the super chats, show the support for people who are willing to platform us and allow us to debate on their platforms.
Thank you very much for the kindness, Andrew. Appreciate that. Tess, uninterrupted, please. What do you think? 35 years was too much, or you actually have a different idea?
It's definitely too much. So I understand why he got 35 years. The inadequate defense that he was given is why he got 35 years. I'm actually of the belief that he shouldn't have got any time. I do believe that as the innocent party just sitting there, the aggressor is the person that walked up to him and put their hands on him. And so if anything, he should be home free right now. And that boy is where he deserves to be for putting his hands on someone who didn't touch him first.
So you're making... Oh, I'm sorry.
That's your statement. Do you have, Andrew, you can rebuttal that? Yes, absolutely.
No, I mean, there's nothing here to rebut. This is, first of all, you say it's an inadequate defense, but you give no examples of how the defense was inadequate. You just say that it was. assertions that are made without evidence can be dismissed without evidence, and you provided none. You didn't even provide a single example of how the defense itself was
I can give
inadequate.
you
Hang
the
on.
example.
I didn't
You asked
interrupt.
me
I
for the
didn't interrupt
example.
you once. Just let me say
It's
my
fine.
piece.
Let him let him land, and then you got it.
And then I promise I'll let you say whatever you need to, right? So I want to hear out what you have to say, but I'm going to also make my adamant defenses here. So you didn't provide any adequate or any examples of inadequate defense. That's the first thing. The second thing is when you're talking about self-defense itself, you say he put his hands on him. You do realize that in most states you have some sort of escalation policy which occurs, which means that you have to have some sort of clear and present danger to your life. Mello Anthony himself and the witnesses there seem to think that that was not the case at all, that it did not justify pulling out a folding knife and stabbing him in the chest. If I were to say that he pulled out a gun and shot him in the chest after it was the case that he got shoved, would you say that that was equally justified?
The laws need to demonstrate what actually happened, again, which is a young man who sat there and was aggressed by another young man, responded to being pushed. And so, those examples you're looking for, one of them would be this idea that Karmelo called all of them, but when he was questioned on cross examination, that wasn't in any 2025 reporting. There is nothing that denoted that Karmelo Anthony was an aggressor in any of the early reports. So these newfound stories and testimonies that we see in 2026, those are inconsistencies that were dealt with inadequately by the defense. Now, if you wanted me to give you the examples of inadequacies, I could have. Don't just imply that I didn't. I was just giving you an opening statement.
Okay, but you didn't, and now you've given me one, and yet
Would you like another? Would you like another?
Under the witness statement, well, let's refute one at a time. Under the witness statement of the provocation, the witness stated that after Anthony was repeatedly asked to leave the Memorial High School tent during the rain day, he refused, became hostile, saying, "I'm not leaving. Fuck you all." The slur, witnesses say that he then called the surrounding student athletes a bunch of who were not going to do nothing about it. That's what the witness testimony showed that came out in the trial. So that is what the evidence is that we have on record. I don't know what evidence you're referring to because it sounds like, hang on, almost done. And then I promise you can respond. And then secondarily, he didn't actually answer my question. What would be the distinction had he been there with a Glock concealed and then this guy shoved him in the shoulder, he pulled out the Glock and shot him in the chest? Why would that be a distinction in your mind?
So I want to make sure we're doing this one at a time. So let's deal with what you just read. What you just read, again, was debunked on cross-examination because until you show me something from 2025 that says Karmelo said these things, this is new testimony as highlighted by the defense in cross-examination. So whatever you're reading, can you continue reading it to let these people know what was said? Under cross-examination?
Yeah, I'll continue to read it. During cross-examination, the defense tried to discredit the claim by pointing out that the students did not include Anthony's cursing or slurs in their initial written statement. That's what you're referring to, right?
Absolutely.
But the jury ultimately found that the verbal provocation accounts were very credible and rejected the self-defense argument. They rejected it because they found it. They found the claims to be credible, even if it's not the case that the witness initially reported it. Who cares? They don't think that made the witness less credible because they didn't initially report it. They did report it afterwards when they gave a totality of recounting. So I don't really know how this is in any way, shape, or form inadequate defense, especially since the defense was the one that pointed this out.
Right. Well, they pointed out the fact that the testimony was inconsistent, which is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. So how's that inadequate?
Don't interrupt me after you just sat here crying about it being interrupted.
I'm just curious about the inadequacy. How
right,
would it
but
be
don't
inadequate?
do that though. But don't do that though. You just sat here and cried about being interrupted.
I'm just asking. Like, how
Come
would that
on,
be an
my ass.
inadequate
Shut
defense?
up when I'm talking. I mean, because again, I just want him to understand that the point he's running from is the fact that it was dealt with, and now when I'm calling it inadequate, they're not challenging enough of these witnesses on their inconsistencies. So I know he does not want that to happen because it benefits him in terms of the outcome. But there are multiple inconsistencies. For example, another would be one saying he was pushed with one hand, another saying he was pushed with two. One saying it was a light tap, another saying it was a direct shove. Because you have these inconsistencies that were not dealt with by the defense, I am well within my intellectual reasoning to say that that's inadequate as a defense.
It's
What is
really,
he talking about?
it's really funny here because what you're saying is actually self-contradictory. It's P and not P. The defense was inadequate because they didn't
Yeah.
point all these things out. And then it turns out they did point all these things out. The jury just didn't
No.
believe them. So how could that be the defense being inadequate? In fact, it would be the opposite. The defense is adequately making the exact same defenses that you would make based on the sworn witness testimony and the inconsistencies you see. So how's the defense being inadequate again, dude?
Because again, these arguments that we're making about that one statement, that is the only time they pointed out that inconsistency. When, if you're fighting for this young man's life, you'll point out these multiple inconsistencies multiple times. And even now, when you get the chance to call witnesses, you'll call that witness up and show his inconsistency through questioning.
Are you saying that the
The
defense
defense
attorney
failed to do
specifically
that.
did not under cross-examination point out these various inadequacies that you right now are pointing out? Because the matter of record that I have, at least for the first claim, they did. And I'm willing to go claim by claim. And I got a feeling the defense actually did point these things out. So again, how is it the case that it's an inadequate defense? How?
Because pointing it out is not the same as using it to get Karmelo a better sentence. Pointing it out shows now that you are identifying it. Pay attention, white dude. Pointing it out
That again
means I
makes no
see it.
sense.
I didn't. Right, I'm trying to show you. I know you're smart. You're not smart. You're white. So when I point it out,
Got him.
if you don't pick up on it,
One second, please. I already know this is going to escalate in something that we don't want here. I said before the show, please let's take the mother situation going on. We're already talking about race. No need to be insulting each other in the levels of race. And as long as you don't want to lose the show. If I want to lose the show, keep doing the white boys and all that shit so we can wrap it up in 15 minutes. Okay? Y'all having a decent and civil conversation. It seems like both of y'all are informed about the case. Let's keep it that way. Go ahead, Tess.
right, but again, he's informed about the case, but what he's not going to acknowledge is that the defense is inadequate representation is what I'm talking about. If you don't call those prosecution witnesses back up and challenge them on their inconsistencies, you're not helping Karmelo Anthony. And so while he may not think from a defense standpoint, I am. So as you have identified these multiple inconsistencies, you don't take out the time to bring those witnesses back up after you've brought out the inconsistency on cross-examination and use those moments to benefit Karmelo. That is an inadequate defense.
Yeah, this is just goalpost switching. So it can't be an inadequate defense if the defense is actually doing the things that you claimed you wanted the defense to do, which is point out the various inadequacies. The defense, that was part of their defense. This is inadequate due to the fact that there's inconsistencies in this testimony. There's also inconsistencies in this testimony. That was presented by the defense. The jury had access to that information. They just didn't buy it. So when you say when you say it was an inadequate defense, or you're just saying you think the defense attorney did a bad job, fine, I guess you can think that, but you haven't actually demonstrated it because they are pointing out these various inconsistencies. You just want them to like call the witnesses back up, but you don't know if that would have actually served Karmelo better or not. You have no idea.
Well, we do know it would serve him better because it would actually highlight the inconsistencies that you're downplaying now. Even right now in this moment, as I've given you two different things that were testified in the trial that would benefit Karmelo, the only thing I'm saying the defense would need to do is challenge that directly as opposed to just simply saying this in a cross-examination. I don't know how you don't understand that other than the fact that you might be biased for the other side.
That is
but on the side of the defense,
yeah, sorry.
I'm not done.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the side of the defense, you want them to challenge this information directly that these prosecution witnesses are saying, especially since they can't stand on it.
That's exactly what they did during cross-examination. That's what the challenges are. During cross-examination, they pointed these various things out. That is the challenge. What else could they have done? What are they supposed to do? You say drag them back up. It's like, for what? They already got the information there to the jury. They already got them under cross-examination, pointing the inconsistencies out. That information was already out there. In both the examples you gave, I demonstrated in both cases the jury was informed about those inadequacies, and in both cases, they just simply didn't believe that that was inadequate. That's it.
Right. So inadequate defense would have automatically known to call them up on their inconsistencies and now directly question them on their inconsistencies, because the only thing that happened under cross was the inconsistency came out. He did not further elaborate on the inconsistency under cross-examination.
Prove it.
So now that you get a chance to question, you use those inconsistencies to create the questions about said inconsistencies.
Well, prove it. Prove that he actually didn't, during cross-examination, when this came out, rigorously question him about the inconsistency. Go ahead and show me the evidence for that, because I don't believe you.
You don't believe me about, say it again, ask the question again.
Show me the evidence that when this came out during cross-examination from the defense, they didn't rigorously ask questions about that inconsistency, which is what you're demanding right now.
Right. So we can determine that by the fact that they didn't call any of those witnesses.
Yes, they did. They cross-examined them. Under cross-examination, they did the rigorous.
They did not recall them as witnesses to challenge the narrative that they testified to. They absolutely
Why?
do,
it already came out and they were rigorously questioned. Why are they calling them back?
Right, they're calling them back to challenge their testimony. It was challenged under cross and determined that it was inconsistent. So now if you're trying to help Karmelo get off, you want to further expound on those inconsistencies. What is it that you're not understanding about
that
further expounding?
They already did that. They already pointed out, they already pointed out the inconsistency during cross-examination, rigorously questioned them about the inconsistency. Calling them back up may have actually damaged that testimony in many ways. Perhaps then in the second cross, there's other reasons for it that they don't want to deal with. There could be any number of reasons why they didn't recall them. Or for you to say it's an inadequate defense because you didn't call the witnesses. First, you said they didn't even question them about this. They did. The second thing you said is they didn't.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the second thing you said was that when it was the case that they didn't really ask many questions about it. That wasn't true either. It was just done under cross-exam. Your entire case here for inadequate defense is they should have recalled witnesses for the same information they had.